Hi guys, Alex here. Now, if you're a man and someone was to ask you the question, say for the last few weeks, how have you generally been feeling? How would you describe your general state, emotional state? And you were to think to yourself, you know what, I've been pretty depressed, actually, pretty down, just sort of, melancholy, not very happy. And obviously our emotional states go up and down over the years and over time, but if you were to describe your recent emotional states average as being pretty depressed, and you are doing any one of the following three things I'm about to talk about, you don't really have a right to complain, because these are the low-hanging fruits. These are things that if you were to cut them out, even if you were to cut out one of the following things, would make a huge difference in your sense of well-being. And obviously everyone's different, and I'm talking about my own personal experiences, and I'm highly sensitive, so for the most part I've cut out a lot of these things early on, but you know, we're all human and we tend to respond in the same way to different stimuli. So these are the three things that if you're still doing them and you're still complaining, you really don't have a right to complain. At least think about cutting these things out. So the first one is porn, watching pornography. I mean, that's pretty much a no-brainer, but there's so many studies out there about how bad it is for your mental health and your brain and your social anxiety. Jesus, it's such intense, high stimulus stuff, and it's getting worse and worse. And the way that it works is because it desensitizes you to what you're watching, you tend to want to kind of get into that rabbit hole and watch increasingly more disgusting stuff. And it's just degenerate, awful crap, and shouldn't be in your life in any way. It dirties your soul, it dirties your mind, and it makes you desensitized to reality because it's such high stimulus stuff. It's destroying your nerve endings, it's destroying your dopamine receptors. All that science is out there. Look it up. The same goes for masturbating. I know it's disgusting, but we've got to talk about this, guys. Porn, wanking, and excessive promiscuous sex as well is going to desensitize you to the beauties and the joys of the world around you. Obviously, people are going to argue against that in terms of the sex stuff, but whenever you have sex or you wank, you are losing that precious seed, and when you lose that seed, you lose all that sexual energy inside you. I'd really recommend you read up on things like sexual transmutation, and how conserving that precious seed inside you is effectively allowing creative energy. Creative energy is the same thing as sexual energy, believe it or not. Many people talk about this, and it makes so much sense. Whenever I have conserved my own sexual energy for long periods of time, my God, my creative powers have been amplified. I feel more productive, I'm more happy. I feel like a sense of hope and a sense of real joy that comes back into my life when I've just held off that stuff, including sex with girls. Sorry, ladies. So think about that. Porn, for sure. Porn has to go. You have to work on cutting that crap out of your life. Read the chapter on sexual transmutation by Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich. Fantastic chapter. He talks about how a lot of the world's great men tended to have found their genius through prolonged periods of abstaining from sex, wanking, and you know, there wasn't much porn back in the days for most of the guys he was talking about. But for us, I mean, porn is just like, it's just such intense stimulus that is ruining our minds and ruining our kids' minds. Has to go. So cut out the porn, see how it changes you. Second one, smoking, drugs, drinking, any kind of drugs basically. And obviously drugs can cover a whole range of different types of things, different types of stimulants. So what I'm really talking about here is the heavy stuff. If you smoke and you're wondering why you're depressed, come on, man. Smoking, you're going to feel awful. Smoking is literally inhaling a cocktail of dirty chemicals into your lungs. That can't be doing you very good. So if you smoke on a regular basis and you wonder why you feel low, that could be a pretty good reason. Drugs, for sure, same reasons behind that. You're taking in tons of toxins. You're also elevating your mood very rapidly in the same way that you do that with coffee, and just high stimulants will elevate you, and then of course that leads to a crash. So drugs is not very good. And if you're drinking alcohol a lot, I mean, obviously here and there, a bit of partying and a bit of drug taking and a bit of smoking is fine, because in that sense, in that context, you are treating it as a one-off, little treat, a little bit of fun, and that's fine. But if you're bringing these things into your life on a regular basis, you are constantly pushing up your dopamine, you're constantly pushing up whatever the hell's going on in the science of it, which I'm not an expert on, but you know that you get these crashes, you know you get hangovers, you know that alcohol is not good for you. So if you're doing any of that stuff on a regular basis, Come on, man. Got to cut that stuff out if you want to be feeling better. Next one, the third one. This could be controversial for some. And again, I'm talking about this in terms of my own experiences, and I've tried all kinds of different diets and different kinds of foods and different kinds of variations of eating. I've had lots of problems with sweating too much and being too anxious, so diet was one of the last things that I addressed over the last few years in trying to sort out my own mood stabilization and improving my own anxiety and sweating. So what I have come up with, which I find is the sweet spot and that has worked the best for me, is a low carb, high saturated fat, low sugar, medium levels of protein diet. So this is effectively what the carnivore diet is. Some of you won't like the idea of going strict carnivore, but I have seen through my own studies of it just nothing wrong with it. Like, I've seen a lot to suggest that going on a totally plant-based diet, for example, means that you are not taking in up to 50 minerals and good nutrients for your body, just because you're cutting out all the nutrients that you get in meats. I'm going to go into this in other videos, how we can justify eating meat with there not seemingly being very many animals in this planet and all that kind of stuff, all the sort of ethical stuff I'll address another time. But basically, if you want to improve your well-being and you're eating high carb, high sugar, low fat diets, too many grains, too much wheat, basically just the high carbs. Carbs turn into sugars in your body, and sugar is debilitating for your anxiety, for your depression, for your mood. This is what I found. This is what many other people have described, and it's true. It works. It happens. If you cut out the carbs and the sugar, my goodness, you'll feel it in your soul. The anxiety goes, the brain fog goes, your memory increases, your dreams become clearer. Obviously, it leads to losing excess fat on your body, because you're through ketosis and all that stuff. Your body starts sort of burning through all that excess fat that would have been formed through the sugar intake. Give it a shot. Give any one of those things a shot. So my call to action for you today would be, for 1 week, 7 days, cut out porn, wanking, and even orgasm. All three of those. PMO, they call it. Porn, masturbation, orgasm. Cut out all of those things for a week and see what happens. Cut out smoking, drinking, drugs for a week. Cut out sugar, and ideally as many carby foods, high starch foods. That includes vegetables and fruits. I know that I'm going extreme on you, but you've got to try it. You've got to experiment in life. I have a little hair here that's hanging on my eye. It's driving me nuts. You could do one of each of the three, or do all three, just go all in for a week. You might try what I've done many times, which is to do the 30-day thing, which is to eradicate all of that stuff for 30 days. I know it's tough. It will be difficult for many of you guys, but life is about experimentation. And if you're depressed, my God, you've got to start experimenting here. You've got to start seeing how your body reacts to different stimuli and different ways of doing things. So no porn for sure. No porn, wanking, orgasm, try that. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, cut it out. No sugar, minimal carbs, do that. And try and do that all for a week. Report back, write in the comments below how you found it, how your mood has been lifted. I can guarantee that you will feel a lot better. Now, none of this stuff is particularly new and particularly difficult for most, and it just sometimes requires a bit of a push and a bit of a reminder for many of you guys. But give it a go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you want me to talk about any other particular things. I'm going to be going into things like carnivore diet and diet in general and mental health and all that sort of stuff on this channel. So make sure that you're following me. Make sure that you've hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, all that cool stuff, the like button. Make sure you smash it. Smash that like button, because it's going to alert YouTube. All the little reptilian shape-shifting overlords that exist in YouTube, they're going to be looking at their little control panel and thinking, all right, whose videos are getting liked? Oh, this guy's getting liked. Let's include him in the suggested feed. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and you promote my work to other guys who are also suffering and might find this video somewhere and improve their life. In the same way that these things have really helped me, like my life has dramatically improved since cutting out a lot of this stuff. Again, of course, a little bit of fun here and there, that's fine. As long as it doesn't become a habit, doesn't become an addiction, you're good. So see you in the next video.